I'm going to read today from an excerpt from my new book, my sixth book of poetry, a book-length poem entitled Count. I am, like many of you, very, very concerned about global climate change and about water, which is one of my particular issues. And so about 2.5 years ago, I started to see this vision, this image of a young girl on an overcast day facing the ocean. She was about 7 or 8 years old. I couldn't see her face, and she just kept coming to me over and over again while I was learning about rising seas and disappearing ice sheets. And so that's in part where the poem comes from. This poem, which is very different than my other poems, is sort of experimenting with how much a poem can hold. So it really, to you, will seem part essay, part lyric. It ranges from New Mexico to Florida, from Antarctica to the Chilean desert. It's non-narrative, quite collage, so you don't have to worry about following one story. And I'm just going to read the first few sections. It's called Count. 1. Between you and me, small distance, this little sea of Cylindropuntia imbricata, drought-tolerant, difficult to kill, stippled with bees and magenta blooms, the spaces they fill in the shadows of monumental granite boulders. Here where the trail begins in the Sandia Mountains, 7,032 feet, hiking up and southeast, where a rim of brown creeps up the foothills, inch by inch, behind which the green world disappears. It's hard not to think discrete, continuous, north and south, Greenland with its shrinking ice sheet, the Atacama deserts expanding at a rate of 1 meter a day. When I hear it, a brimming, a lapping, a sequence of little roars. Let us go now, you and I, to the water, where the girl stands, where the ocean is the color of milky green-gray leaves. It's cold, overcast. I can see the goosebumps on her legs. She happens to wear white. She must be 7 or 8. The girl goes to the water. I see her during the day, at night, when looking straight on in that highway drive hypnotic state. She reminds me of my nieces, the infants they were, the plastic tubs and soapy water, the sounds they made, gurgling while they were bathed. On the asphalt path at Shark Valley, the Tarzan screech of a limpkin knocks me back into midday, cycling through muggy air, and I resume the alligator count, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, basking at pathside or half submerged in the slough. The year I bounce between bosque and wetlands, the deeply incised Santa Fe riverbed, and this 15-mile loop that seems to float on water, swerving around the carapace of an apple snail, Ampuridae, seeing a dozen others scattered in sawgrass, prairies of which now sit on disintegrating layers of slowlands peat. I am far from home here, where water hovers in all its forms, sits like an animal, behemoth, so large its consciousness pulses through us like breath or breaths. Remembering Samoan octopus, the primeval battle between fire and water, everything submerged in a boundless sea, yet another tale of the deluge, wiping the slate clean. 2. The bus stop gathering in Bill Viola's The Raft takes the onslaught, water blasted in from left and right, and the third time I watch, I noticed most their flailing shirt cuffs, hems and split ends, the slow motion mutual obliviousness till the water stops, and only then do they reach out, touch, help each other up, telling me something about extremity, something I don't want to know. We hike up into Pinon, half healthy here, elsewhere struggling back from near extinction. During drought, the bark beetle multiplies at twice the normal rate, colonizing trees, welcoming the blue fungus that starves the cells, browning needles, branches, crowns, over 100 million dead in the Southwest alone, a highly efficient kindling which, at the tiniest spark, bursts wildly into flames. When the smoke clears, the mountains, newly denuded, look wan as moonscape, the snuff of bad dreams. In anticipation of the great flood, the god Tochopa tucked his young daughter, Puke'e, into a pinon trunk, carefully hollowed out and packed with tubers, nuts, and healing herbs, so she would survive, live on, repopulate the world. The girl in white, her small ankles, the gray waves endlessly rising into thunderclouds, the garden hose all those years ago in our little backyard running incessantly, turning the spigot on and off and on and off to make it twist and dance, trying to catch it, tame it, pin it under our little wet shoes. The what and so much we didn't know before the count, the wave crashing before her, the girl, as she backs and backs away. 3. Professor Harold Wanless speaks to us beside a screen flashing images of his Antarctic research, a lecture entitled The Frightening Reality of Sea Level Rise, before an audience that includes the well-housed and healed of Coral Gables. And we slip into the quiet of black and white, the grays and ashes of some world so cold and far away, even our coffee cups seem to gush in comparison. Outside, the banyan trees drip their aerial branches like lion's tails, and the houses keep shining on, mango, avocado, tangerine, cheerful amnesiacs, while the coastal maps and time-lapse video depict diminishing beachfronts. And the room is so fraught with silence, just human breath, that I have the urge to mumble and laugh. I moved for a time to the Sunshine State for more than afternoons lying supine at Matheson Hammock State Park, the lagoon near the bay near the sea a continuous stretch from all places north and south, for poetry from the hands and mouths of those who will be 70 in 2063. I will be gone, gone, and what will I have left them? 4. Walking is walking, becomes something else with time and attention. In 2012, Dominique struggled at the end of day 3. Bobby grew more and more deliberate with her poles. My hips went numb under my heavy pack. Later that night in the tent, I wrote, "No water from San Isidro to the city limits. So much industrial waste. Tires, paint cans, cars crushed by earth and embedded in the banks." 39 of 54 miles behind us, walking the length of the endangered Santa Fe, I became unsure of my edges, hair, fingernails, skin, more like the stick figures in the petroglyph at La Bajada, climbing upward toward that swirling sun, wormhole, moon. All was perforation. In Hamish Fulton's Slow Walk, 99 volunteers take 2 hours to move across a rectangular space, thousands of small steps, a protest against Ai Weiwei's imprisonment, homage to his great work entitled Sunflower Seeds, 100 million porcelain replicas created over 3 years by 1,600 Chinese workers, invoking Mao's Great Leap Forward, the working classes, small sustenance of seeds during the famines, the magnitude of the count upward from the singular and multiplied in physical space. 5. At the Biscayne Bay National Park Welcome Center, I arrived too late for the afternoon snorkeling trip, refused the self-guided diorama tour, exit the building chiding myself. From the bench, I watched the boat crowded with snorkelers, little black dots receding quickly in the distance. When we were young, the little blue bathtub was big as a lagoon, and we'd take turns being the bridge and the diver, holding our noses as we swam under, end to end, pretending we were Jacques Cousteau, saying, I saw a whale, an eel, a seahorse, a starfish, never having been to the ocean, diving over and over again till Mother would yell for us to get out, make room for the next pair, and I'd dive once more so it would linger longer, dreamy waterlogged. 30 years later at Xel-Ha, Quintana Roo, 1996, numb to my severely sunburned back, I swam with the magnificence, Burriquete, Loro Guayacama, Pez Puerco, trying to stay submerged all the way back to the airport, their salty world-blurring eyes, belly, cuticles. I'd become something else. Like the infants in that underwater footage, their tiny sausage-like forearms and thighs swimming effortlessly deep under the surface, pupils half-focused, belonging still to some first world of echo and gills. Relenting, I re-enter the Welcome Center, wander to the back where the dioramas display creatures so fantastical, fingerprint siphonia, rainbow rasa, bearded fireworm. I feel something open wide. Hear Spider-Woman and the clans actually listen to Sotaknang, abandon their assault on ice and mountain, walk away from the back door to the fourth world. 6. A half mile from the peak, and much too high for Choya anymore, a barking dog dissolves the spell. Someone else is on the trail. I watch Paul's calves pulse and pulse, the shapes of which still heat my thighs. Good hurt, ache, like Peru 2004, snow flurries at the Pampacawana Pass, the horse's footing no better than ours. The moment he dismounted, decided to hike instead, watching his head, back, legs from higher up on horseback, knowing it was a singular moment, never to be repeated. The wrench of disappearance, ablation, downwasting, disarticulation, the grief that accompanies the downward count. We break into words. Hey, pup, beautiful lab, owl up ahead. Bits of matter and sound almost bizarre in this alpine silence, a half day away from the city's habitual multiplicity. A morning trip to the coffee shop has me deep in line with a wave of the decidedly impatient and wirelessly plugged. The impeccably dressed man with headset saying, I can't do that for you, I won't, while texting, paying, sliding his wallet deftly into his back pocket. At 12, Sonia attaches 3 photos to 2 words and a link that takes me to the Alfred Wegener audio clip, recorded sounds from deep under the Antarctic ice shelf. And for a moment, I think we can do this. Plug in, connect, follow the electrified threads, power cord to outlet, outlet to cables, cables through earth, earth to power station, station to steam, steam from the turbines, turbines fueled by pulverized coal, coal from the long mining machines, machines with their spectacular drill bits going deep and deeper into black rock, rock once a soupy peat, plant matter and swamp forged by 100 million years of pressure, weight, and heat. Is this what the girl sees? Down through her bones as she stands, wisps of hair riding the wind like cursive M's? How much do we want the deep? Thank you.